Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Indy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another
it!
one!
Oladipo!
Another one! Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Worked out by Burke. Bounces into Cody, puts it up, scores!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hey, good Wednesday. Hope you're having a great middle part of your week. Dylan Sinn with me from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. We've had some really beautiful weather up here in Fort Wayne the last 2 days, so I've just been enjoying that.
Yes, Fort Wayne, the vacation spot of the nation, where most people travel to find some respite.
It should be. It is a beautiful town.
Oh man, yeah, it's been nice out this week after a hot spell last week. But everybody's getting ready for stuff, man. You got people qualifying for the Olympics. Lily King's going back to the Olympics. So there's some other Indiana swimmers, divers heading that way. Of course, recruiting news as Indiana is hosting a couple of guys right now. So you got that going on. We'll talk about that. We'll be joined by our good friend Bob Kravitz, Kyle Neddenriep. We'll catch up on the All-Star game that we last week. Indiana swept that series again, as usual. A lot of Purdue people, so a lot of more your peeps up there, Dylan. I noticed at the games and whatnot. That was a first. When I was at that junior senior all-star game, I had never seen such Purdue stuff people wearing. I was like, this is funny.
Yeah.
But I'm like, they should enjoy the run. I don't see that run lasting very long. As a matter of fact, that run's probably over already. It was a very short run, a nice end of the Archie Miller tenure run kind of a thing. But I would be more than confident, as from my perspective, that's going to come to an end when you start getting the guys that Indiana has out there already. It's just more of a national footprint. You know, you've got Indiana as more of a national school itself. Well, now you got these guys that are known just nationally, and I think it's just going to go back to that.
It sure seems like it's in that direction. Of course, we should mention that Purdue did get a commitment from a recruit yesterday, Camden Heidi from Minnesota. But again, it's the Midwest. Purdue is very focused on the Midwest. That's what their bread and butter. And so, as you said, IU is more of a national brand, and they're getting guys from all over the country. Of course, Purdue did get Zach Edey from Florida. But yeah, IU has kind of gone all over the place, especially, I mean, the transfer portal as well. They've gone all over the place to fill their roster.
And Indiana has had a ton of guys visiting. I mentioned that yesterday. They had 3 over the weekend. You've got 2 that are there right now. That's 5 major recruits there just in the last few days. Now, I know that there's a lot of catch up going on, but this is high level talent. This was not happening before. They weren't getting these guys on campus. Archie couldn't get them. If they weren't from Indiana, they weren't coming here. That's changed, and as it should. But that's what I meant by Indiana is going to become and resort back to being what I call a national brand, and that's where they were lacking. And you have to be a national brand if you're going to compete with the elite. And it just looks like they're heading in that direction very quickly.
I mean, I think so. I've said this, and I'm biased because I am an IU alum, but I do feel like just getting players on campus for Indiana matters. I think that really hurt them during the pandemic, especially that you couldn't get guys on campus because IU has one of the more picturesque, beautiful college campuses out there. And so guys that might not have been like really considering IU, I think once you get them on campus, you show them Assembly Hall, you show them the facilities, you show them just Bloomington in general, I think they're going to at least take a second look and say, hey, maybe this is something that I do want to consider, because and for guys who were already considering it, it might take them up another level in terms of this is something that I want, because there is a lot to offer in Bloomington and IU's campus. And I think that's something that IU's been missing by not being able to get these guys on campus, is just being able to show all that off.
Yeah, Kyle Filipkowski, Justin Taylor, the two guys that are there now. Actually, I think their official visits begin yesterday, I think. So yesterday and today, a big guy and a shooting guard. Filipkowski is a 6'10" dude, man. And then Justin Taylor is a 6'6" wing. So and we've talked about this yesterday. There's no recruiting over you. He's going to recruit over you. There's no promises that your position is safe from a standpoint of having to compete for it. Back in the day, there would be an agreement. You'd recruit a kid, all right, we're not going to recruit over you. Nope, that's not the way anymore. Well, not the way that Mike Woodson's going about it, and that's fine. Create the competition. You want the minutes, you got to earn the minutes. That means he's going to put the best players on the floor, which means you're going to have the best opportunity to win. So
I think the important part about that is that Mike Woodson is not going to be shy about that, right? He's not going to kind of give you a wink and say, I'm not going to recruit over you and then go get someone else. He's going to tell you, look, you're going to have to compete for this. I think that's the honesty that I think people are going to like. And I think that's something that Mike Woodson has a lot of. It's just, he's going to tell these players exactly what he thinks. And quite frankly, there's a chance that some of them aren't going to like that. And maybe that becomes an issue down the road with certain players. But I think on the whole, the majority of players are going to enjoy that honesty. And just him saying, look, there's going to be competition. You're going to have to earn it. There are going to be other guys that we recruit after you. But if you're the player we think you are, then you're going to go win the spot and you're going to play big minutes.
And not only that, I mean, you look back at Archie Miller tenure, we knew exactly who the 5 guys that were going to be starting were, and the 3 guys that were going to come off the bench. And that was not exactly going to light a fire. So this is a different scenario. Don't know. I don't have a clue who's going to start. There's some guys I can throw in there, but I don't know who's going to start. Hell, I don't think Mike Woodson knows who's going to start. Miller Kopp just got on campus. So they just got together. It doesn't know what they have as a team. And what they have as a team today is not going to be what they have as a team a month from now and at the end of that deal in the Bahamas. Growth will happen over the next 2 months, because once you get in that team setting, some guys will probably thrive a little bit more. Some guys might fall back a little bit. Who knows? But I don't have a clue. Anybody thinks they know what a starting lineup is, that's just pulling names out of a hat. But regardless of that next 5 are going to be 5 guys. All 5 of them are guys that will have the opportunity, and I guarantee you some of them will be in the starting lineup at different times. You're not going to see the same 5. That baloney is over. It's going to be who earns it each week. I mean, that's how it was by the guy who coached Mike Woodson. That's how it was by most people I've played for as an athlete. Man, you earn a starting spot today. You think you can coast the rest of the year? No, it didn't work where I was. So no, it doesn't happen that way. And that won't happen that way. And that's why it will be fresh blood every time coming off the bench. Because now if you're coming off the bench, you're trying to earn a starting spot. So it's the constant iron sharpens iron.
I do think this summer, you talked about not knowing who's going to start. I think the only 2 spots that are obvious are Trace at power forward and Michael Durr at center. But I do think that this summer is going to be absolutely insane from a competition standpoint for Indiana, because they're going to have 13 guys on campus, all of whom think they're good enough to start. That's not something that happens with every team in college basketball. Like even Tamar Bates and Logan Duncombe are coming in and saying, we think we can start. And everyone else has started in the past somewhere or played big minutes somewhere in the past. They all think they can play big minutes. So the competition this summer is going to be extremely intense. as they figure that out. And I think that's maybe the best situation for everyone, is just everyone's out there thinking they can play big minutes and going out and trying to earn it. That's going to be great for IU, and then it's going to be great for their depth. Even the guys that don't end up starting, you're going to have so much depth coming off the bench. I think that's going to be, it's just helpful because the last few years IU just hasn't had that much depth, and you feel like guys are getting tired. I think that's not going to be the case this year. You're going to be able to bring in different guys in different moments. I think that's going to help a lot.
Not only that, did they not have depth, they didn't have depth, but it just was a fall off. It was just guys on the court, basically. I mean, you're running guys in there to take up space because they weren't ready for that. But what were they not ready for? They weren't prepared. Let's be honest. They were not prepared to be ready. So that all that's gone as well. But Chris hitting us up on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. I hope he doesn't have a problem benching guys for not producing, even if it's TJD. I guarantee you, Mike Woodson is not going to have a problem benching anybody. Dude, come from the NBA, man. He knows how to deal with personalities. You learn to deal with you want to talk about dealing with divas? Brother, NBA and NFL wide receivers. If you've coached in either of those, you've dealt with the divas of all divas. So he won't have a problem benching an 18-year-old kid. I promise you that. He doesn't see. Jason doesn't think Durst starts most games. I don't know how they're going to run the offense, so it'll be curious to see. But I don't know. I haven't seen him play personally. If he's good enough, I promise you, he'll start because whoever's the best five, that's who's going to be on that floor, period.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they end up running that lineup together. But like I said, Duncan will definitely push him. Duncan's coming in as a guy who can also play the five. He's more comfortable as kind of a stretch four, but he can play the five as well. We'll see whether Race Thompson gets some minutes there also. And, of course, TJD. They don't want him to play minutes there. He probably will at some point during the season just for depth purposes. So, Durr's not going to come in and get handed a spot because he's the big guy. He'll definitely have to go out and earn it as well.
Absolutely. And speaking of big guys, though, you'll watch Kevin Durant. I mean, is he just a freak of nature? That guy could play point guard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's completely unique in the history of the NBA in terms of a guy who's that big with that, like those type of skills. I don't think and that's not to say that he is the best player ever, obviously, but he's a completely unique player in terms of who he is and the skills that he brings to the floor. There's never been an NBA player that is that big and also has that kind of skill off the dribble and that kind of jump. It's absolutely absurd.
49 points, triple-double last night.
Yeah.
Keeping the Nets alive.
And they needed every one of them. The Nets, I thought the Nets were that they were going to give that series away after, because James Harden is clearly not completely healthy. Kyrie didn't play. It was on Kevin Durant. He stepped up and made it happen.
CP3's in the NBA protocol, so he's out. We'll talk about it. We got a lot more to talk about. Also joining us up next, Kyle Neddenriep, Bob Kravitz later. We got lots to talk about today. We'll be back with it right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, Hoosier fans, whether you're Cristiano Ronaldo's removal, where did that go? It jumped on me. Removal of 2 Coca-Cola bottles at a Euro 2020 news conference coincided with a $4 billion drop in the market value of the American drink giant.
That sounds like a Mike DeCourcy topic.
Oh, damn it. Did I do that? Am I making that music or did you?
No, I don't hear anything. Dylan, do you
Stupid
hear anything?
ass.
No, I don't hear anything.
It's these stupid ass commercials that start running. I can't find it to stop. Stop, dude.
By the way, I've messaged Kyle, haven't heard from him, but I'm sure he'll come on when he normally does.
Did he say he was not going to be here this week?
No, he'll be here. He retweeted the tweet, so I mean, he definitely should be here, but he hadn't responded to my message from earlier. So it'll either be this segment or next segment. I asked him if he was ready for this segment back at the beginning of the show, and I'm yet to hear from him, but he'll be.
Ronaldo, an advocate of a healthy diet, moved the glass bottles out of the camera frame and instead of held up a bottle of water and said in Portuguese, water. Coca-Cola saw its share price drop by 1.6% to $55 soon after Ronaldo's actions. The market value went from $242 billion to $238 billion. It's a $4 billion drop.
All
Are you
because
shitting me?
he didn't endorse Coca-Cola at wherever he was.
Because he moved it.
Yeah.
What he should have done, because their Coke owns water brands too. They should have just picked the Coke owned water brand. It would have been fine.
Is that Dasani, I think?
It is Dasani, the one we used to have at IU, which is the worst water of all time.
See, I used to think it was good. I haven't had it in so long, though, so I don't even remember.
It is horrible. I'm not sure. Was IU a Coke school when you were there, Jim?
What's that?
Was IU a Coke school when you were there? They had all the Coke branded stuff and like the
Man,
C-store
I
and
don't
stuff
remember.
Like that. Yeah. When I was there, it was Coke.
Coke pretty much owned everything.
Yeah,
Dasani does have a very distinct, odd taste, I will say, but I remember liking it.
There was a scandal a few years ago because apparently they were putting like little bits of salt in it to make you thirsty. So like you would drink water and then like you would still be thirsty, so you would drink more.
All right, I gotta bring us back in.
Bloomington, then stay for dinner at Sam's Clubhouse. Sam's Restaurants, professionals in the art of food and drink.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back on this Wednesday. We've hit the midway point of the week. Was talking about the NBA playoffs right before we broke. Kevin Durant, big night for him, man. He just cut loose. Triple-double with 49 points. That's just big. I mean, that's just big. That's the playoffs. I mean, you think back through the years. I mean, you love all those stories of Bird and all those guys going off.
There he is.
Neddenriep joining us now from the Indy Star. How you been, man? Long time no see.
Yeah, good. How are you guys?
Good.
Ran into Kyle last Wednesday up at Brownsburg at the junior-senior All-Star Night. It was so fun just being in a gym where people were there and not restricted on where they could sit, anything. It was just fun just to be out in that environment. Saw some people. Andy Graham was out. He finally left out of his home. He finally came out and saw some people. It was just good to get out.
Yeah, it was. It was felt like a normal junior senior all-star game, and you know, kind of a laid back atmosphere a little bit, and felt like a lot of the ones I've covered over the years. So that's a good thing. And you know, I thought it was a good game. You know, we got to see some good junior players, and the seniors kind of stepped up and took control of that game. But yeah, it was a good time. I thought the whole week was really good. The game at Southport and you know, going down to Owensboro, always kind of like, you know, making that trip to Kentucky too, to see whatever they've got going on down there. And saw a new gym in Owens I hadn't been to before. Not a new gym, but a new gym to me. I hadn't been to the Owensboro Sports Center before. So that was a unique place. And yeah, I thought it was it felt like a normal in the year where nothing has been normal these past 18 months. I mean, that kind of felt like we're getting back to something that resembles it anyway.
And the normalcy continued as Indiana thumped Kentucky, taking both games in the series, as they have since, 2009? Or no, they lost one in 2017, I think.
Yeah, they've lost I think they're 27-3 over the last 30 games. So that kind of tells the story there. But yeah, Kentucky, this year's team, just kind of a sort of not a superstar. They had a decent team. I mean, they had some guys who were going to play at the college level, obviously, who were good players. But I didn't think Indiana didn't play the start of the game down in Kentucky. They kind of just ran them out of I thought it was going to be really ugly. Kentucky did a good job kind of coming back and making it somewhat of a game. And then Saturday, I thought Kentucky again played relatively well. Indiana didn't really hit its stride until they had those 5 playing together, for about 10 minutes in the second half. And then kind of got a good run going with, and then Kaufman-Wren had to sit, in the second half with that hand injury. But I thought they kind of got right. I thought Caleb First played really well both games, kind of showed why he's Indian All-Star, Mr. Basketball. Thought Jaden Taylor from Perry Meridian had a good 2 games. Blake Wesley, Shamar Avance played really well in the Saturday game. I know some people. I got some. When the team was announced, some people kind of saying, "Why is he on the team?" I think he showed why he was on the team for sure. Showed I think he was one of the more valuable players on the team. I thought it was a pretty good showing. I was surprised the girls got beat on Saturday after what I saw on Friday. I thought they would blow them out on Saturday. That didn't happen. Kentucky played to win. They had 2 girls play 38 minutes. So, that kind of tells you, they had 2 girls play 38 and a couple who played barely a minute. So for those complaining about playing time, I mean, that kind of tells you what Kentucky, how they felt about it. So, but yeah, overall, good experience.
Yeah, always fun if you're an Indiana fan, it's always usually fun on that side of things, as you can see, a 27-3 record. But will Kentucky continue? Is this something that you think that they will continue to do? Because I know there's been chatter about it because of the disparity of talent, basically, in the state of Indiana over Kentucky. And I hope it continues. I mean, there's no sign of it stopping right now, but that's probably got to be a discussion somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it comes up every year, and people are like, we got to play somebody else. I don't know if there's a huge appetite for playing anybody else. My thought would be, maybe go play the juniors, just play, go around the state, play a couple of games north, have a junior north team and a core group that plays maybe 3 games. You play a north venue, a south venue, and then play at Southport or Bankers Life when it's available on Saturday or whatever. To me, that would be the way to go. That way you kind of you showcase the juniors to different areas of the state. And, but I don't know. I see it both ways. I mean, to me, the people who are in charge of Kentucky just doesn't have they don't draw just the common fans out to watch the game like Indiana does. I mean, it's just not a huge thing down there. I don't know if that's because it's bounced around so much or, they don't have the star power. A lot of times their best players aren't even playing. There's sometimes like Miss Basketball going to Tennessee didn't even play. So, I mean, that, that's a problem. You're not getting your best players playing the game. That has happened with the boys before. This year, I think they had everybody they'd thought they would have. I think they missed somebody couldn't come to the game Saturday, but, regardless, it's been a challenge for them to try to get the best players even to play in the game at times. It's kind of the way of the world now. I know a lot of the Indiana All-Stars had to go report to their colleges on Sunday. So, it's a quick turnaround. It's a short window. They used to play this game like, this used to be a huge summer thing back in the day, and it'd be a 2-week ordeal. And I think back when they first started, they were playing in August, so that shows you how much times have changed. I mean, it's just totally different on the timeline of things. But I don't know, this series goes back to 1940. I mean, I'd hate to see Kentucky not be a part of it. And I think the coaches who coached, they're into it. I mean, they want to make it a big deal down there. I just don't know if they had the infrastructure to have thousands of people come to the game anymore. The venues have been, like I said, it's bounced around. Even in the time I've been covering it, it's gone from Freedom Hall to Bellarmine to, Frankfort to Lexington to Owensboro. I mean, it's kind of been all over the place. So that creates some instability as well. But, I don't know. I know people bring up Illinois or playing Michigan or Ohio. I just, I would say I wouldn't do that. I would just, if you're going to change something, if Kentucky doesn't want to be a part of it, I'd just say play the juniors. Like I said, play maybe up north, south, and then play a Saturday end of week type of game. And That's what I would do anyway. I don't know that why would Ohio or Michigan or Illinois care? I mean, they're not, that's it'd be a new thing for them too. And who's to say they'd be any better than Kentucky about organizing it? So that's just my thought.
Yeah. Or you could do a combo, senior, junior, North and South team. I don't know. Who knows? Or just leave it alone. Don't fix what it ain't broke.
That's kind of my thought. I mean, it's just to me, it's like, I come to the game Saturday and the parking lot's full. Walk into the gym at Southport for the girls' game, and we had someone else covering it, so I got there kind of probably 10 minutes into the game, and I was like, man, this is a really good crowd. It was the maximum of 3,500. I'm sure they had that, at different points during the night. It's like, what's wrong with that? I mean, for an all-star game, what do you really expect? I mean, so I good crowd. I mean, Kentucky, yeah, you're only getting however many people you get. I think they had, I forget, off 650 or 700 there. And a lot of them were Illinois or Indiana, coming from Indiana to come down and watch it. And that's fine. I mean, Blake Sisley, Heritage Hills, he's right around, 30 minutes from there, and had a big crowd of family and friends there to watch. And Trey Kaufman had a lot of family and friends there to watch. And, it was a you're not going to get the thousands. So I don't know that, that's unreasonable to even expect that. But, I still, go into that game Saturday. I was like, I didn't know what to expect as far as crowd. I thought it was a really good crowd, and it felt like a pretty big deal. So, I don't know. I'm not sure everybody wants to change it. And I don't know if it really needs to be changed.
And the only reason it was not at Bankers Life Fieldhouse was because of the renovations that are going on there. It should return there next year. Switching subjects a little bit to the swimming pool and Olympics, Carmel is going to be sending some former students to the Olympics, which is a first for them. Drew Kibler, Jake Mitchell, both of those guys from Carmel, I think.
Yeah, pretty cool deal. David Woods, I know, is on top of all that, covering the Olympics, qualifiers and everything, and he's the man on top of it. So it'd be a cool deal. I talked to David's a friend of mine. He's been doing it forever, and I know he's excited, and he does a great job covering Olympic sports for us. So you'd have to have him on to talk more about that. But he's that's a cool deal.
And I know that IU's got several going. Lily King, of course, as well. We mentioned that earlier. So as the Olympics is around the corner, hopefully they get to have that. But so what now comes up next? With the high school, on the high school side, you've got a lot of kids visiting. Indiana's got 2 visits in right now. And there they've had 5. It'll be a total of 5 over the last few days. They have 3 over the weekend, and now you've got 2 more in there right now. All these visits going on, they're trying to make up for what they couldn't get done last year. But other than visits, you've got the AAU circuit's that is kicked up. You got the Peach Jam coming and all that, the gauntlet, all that stuff yet to happen. So we've still got a lot to go this summer.
Yeah, I mean, this will be kind of a dead time. I mean, the next you have moratorium week at the end of June. You have first week of July moratorium. So it's kind of that. I'm going to take those 2 weeks off and kind of reboot. And I'm going to the College World Series, watch some of that, and looking forward to that. So but right now you're going to have some commitments. Football commitments are kind of imminent right now. Javon Tracy from Decatur Central yesterday committed to Miami of Ohio from here. We've had a few others. This is kind of commitment time, especially and Javon even mentioned it yesterday when I talked to him. He said you have to kind of grab your spot right now. I know we've talked about this before, but with all the, kind of stuff going on with the commitment, the extra year and things like that, you're going to have to lock in your spot. So I think we'll see a lot of football commitments. This is kind of a time for that anyway, but, kids getting on campus and starting to, at least in football, as we know, it's not always in writing at this point. You kind of lock in your spot and then maybe you still get recruited. Basketball is a little bit different where, normally those verbal commitments are pretty, stay, they end up signing, but football is a little different. But But yeah, I mean, it's with kids able to visit right now, we're about 2 weeks into that. 2023 class basketball yesterday. I know coaches could start contacting them and reaching out to them. So, this is kind of a big recruiting time in the summer, but also a time to, baseball state finals coming up, and that'll be it for high school sports for this year. So, kind of the capper, that'll be Monday and Tuesday at Victory Field. They had to move it to that because of the Indian schedule was on the weekend this year. So, it'll end up Monday, Tuesday. I'll have a couple of features, or at least one feature on one of the teams coming next here in the next couple of days. But yeah, that's the end. We can start working on next year's stuff. Already kind of getting ready for football. Started looking at stuff yesterday to start getting ready for football season. That'll be coming smack in the face once I get back from vacation. So, it never really ends, but you just kind of go in different cycles.
It is funny because it's not that far away. High school football, it's funny to say, or college football for that matter, because we're already into June. So you hit July and August. That's all you got. They're already in training, and then boom, September starts games. And so, yeah, it will be here before you know it. And the summer camp starting up and all that stuff. It's great because we've been starving for it, but now like, damn, we got to get ready. It's here.
Yeah, it'll be coming fast. I love college football season. The biggest downer when college football season, even though they were playing the games and that was great, but it's like, man, those just having empty stadiums for college football is just such a such a downer of a thing to watch. And the Big Ten, barely family and stuff like that. It just, we were doing what we had to do at that time, people trying to do the right thing. And I definitely, get that, but hopefully we're back to having, full crowds and things like that, because the experience of college football is just so much about the fans and having people there in the stands and gosh, that was just not the same, so, hopefully we're back to that. I think high school football felt relatively normal last year, even more so than basketball did. So, I'm looking forward to high school football again, but I thought last year felt, looking back, I mean, it was there were times where, I'm at a Cathedral Center Grove game, huge game where, 1 versus 2, and they're both ranked in the country. And, that game had to be limited crowds, but, that would have been a great environment. Probably one of the better high school environments ever. It would have been, but couldn't be that way. But so, looking forward to, getting back to something that feels a little bit more normal than we had, obviously, and glad we're getting through it.
Me too, man. I hope you go out and get you some relaxation. Enjoy some downtime.
Absolutely. You guys too. And appreciate you having me on.
Appreciate you, brother. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Kyle.
All right, guys.
Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star. Make sure you join him. He's here with Dylan Sinn and myself, and we'll be back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Whether you're looking for a relaxed...
What's going on with you, Dylan? You got anything you need to...
Well, we have, as Kyle said, baseball state finals are Monday. We have a team there. I'm covering them this week. East Side from up in Butler. They are playing in their first ever state title game. So that's exciting.
On this date in 1978, Reds history, Tom Seaver pitched the only no-hitter of his career in a 4-0 victory over the Cardinals at Riverfront Stadium. Was I there? I don't think
I'm going to say yes.
I wish.
Oh. Excuse me. Man, I don't know. I've got my mic on while I'm doing it.
On this date, 1990, Chris Sabo, Barry Larkin, and Eric Davis hit back-to-back homers.
Wow.
Chris Sabo, those glasses, man. You probably don't remember him. He wore these real, like, racquetball glasses. He played at third base. He drove like a a Ford Ranger.
Yeah.
It was a little bitty truck. He was funny.
Oh, gosh. I wonder if was there anyone that you went to the All-Star game, right, Jim?
I went to the junior senior game.
Did you was there anyone from the junior class that stood out to you that you hadn't really thought of before? Obviously they're all All-Stars, but like
Leland Walker.
Yeah.
Because he's an enigma because he's 5'10", but he can stroke that ball, man. He was like he was on fire from behind the line. He hit like 4 out of 6, I think.
Okay.
Was 6 of 8 overall. But
IU hasn't offered him, has they?
No. And I look at the guys that they are bringing in, like CJ Gunn.
Yeah.
6'5". He's 6'5", man. That's 7 inches.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that he outshot CJ, but put CJ in front of him. The dude was guarding him is 7 inches taller. Is he going to be able to get those shots off? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and bring us back in.
New 2021 Honda Accord LX front-wheel drive lease for just $270 a month. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indie Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back on this Wednesday. Dylan Sinn joining me from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. What's going on with you? How have you been? How's your summer going?
It's going very well. Summer hasn't officially started yet because we have one more team alive here in Fort Wayne. That would be Eastside Baseball. They are in the state championship game on Monday. They had never won even a regional championship before this season. They won their first regional, they won their first semi-state, and they are facing Providence for the title on Monday. So I was up there practice yesterday. That's exciting. Also, of course, I'm covering the Tin Caps all summer here in Fort Wayne. They're on the road for 2 weeks right now. They just finished a 2-week homestand. So for covering
who are they affiliated with?
They're affiliated with the San Diego Padres. So we actually had Fernando Tatis come through here in 2017. He set a team record with 21 home runs in about 100 games. It was pretty impressive. He's a legend here in Fort Wayne.
I know that Indianapolis is affiliated with the Pirates. And then down in Louisville, you've got the Reds, which used to be the Cardinals. And a lot of Cardinal fans. Southern Indiana, it's a split, basically. I know our friends down on the ref in Evansville, tons of Cardinals fans there. That's Cardinal country. Southern Indiana was kind of split, and I told this story before. It was probably just a difference of 5 years. If I had been 5 years younger, I would have been a Cardinals fan, not a Reds fan. But the Reds games were played in Louisville, so I had them in Southern Indiana. But in 83, A. Ray Smith brought the Cardinals AAA franchise to Louisville, and they were just popular, and it was great. Andy Van Slyke, Vince Coleman, all those guys came through there. If I had been 5 years younger, I would have been a Cardinals fan. It just was a timing thing because when I was at that age of growing into baseball, it was the big red machine. And bam. So unfortunately, the Cardinals have been a little bit more resilient than the Reds have over the last 30 years. But on this date, though, in Reds history, Tom Seaver pitched his only no-hitter of his career, a 4-0 victory over the Cardinals, no less, at Riverfront Stadium in 1978. And then in 1990, Chris Sabo, Barry Larkin, and Eric Davis hit back-to-back homers in a 6-2 win over the Astros. So there's a little trivia for you.
The Tom Seaver one is always ironic because for so long the Mets didn't have a no hitter in franchise history, and the best pitcher in their history is ended up throwing his only one after he went to the Reds with
and that was the year after he went to the Reds, I believe.
Yeah. It was
very next season.
It was very clearly the twilight of his career. He wasn't quite as good anymore, and he went to the Reds for a season or two, and he threw a no hitter. And the lone no hitter in Mets history remains the Johan Santana one, where he was never the same after that because he had to throw 140 pitches to get it, and they ended up basically ended up ruining his arm because they left him out there to get the no hitter. So in extremely Mets fashion.
Yeah, our boy Kevin Brockway is a big Mets fan, so wish I had him on here to chat him up about that. But yeah, so there you go. We got pro baseball to watch, but in the NBA Finals, I know a lot of people are not NBA fans. When the NBA Finals roll around or these playoffs, it gets fun and exciting. I mean, like these games between Brooklyn and Milwaukee, that's been a great series. Just battling right down to the wire, and of course, it continues to go that way. And there's something else I noticed as far as someone asked me the other day about all the players Purdue is getting right now, recruiting wise. And I said, but Indiana has been down for a while. They still have 9 guys in the NBA right now. That's a big number for a program that has been down. Do you know how many Purdue has in the NBA right now?
Gosh, E'Twaun Moore's in the NBA. Is there anyone obvious I'm missing?
I can't remember who it is, but there's 2. When was E'Twaun Moore?
E'Twaun Moore was a little bit after the baby boilers, like 2011, 12.
Okay, so there's somebody from 2017, like 2017, I think. And I can't.
It's Edwards.
Carson Edwards, yes, for the Celtics. Yes. Thank you, John. John produced perfect job with the Celtics. Went in there with Romeo. But those are the only 2 Purdue guys in the entire league. Purdue is just not a national brand. It does not produce that kind of talent.
Now,
and you think about that, they've never been a national brand. They don't win national titles. They don't, they're a Big Ten team, but that's it. It's like they're just not a national team. They don't produce NBA players, and that's just factual. I mean, the facts are just kind of laid. I don't know why that is, but it's just a fact.
Now, what I will say in Purdue's defense is something that has really been a problem for Indiana and for, quite frankly, the rest of the Big Ten for the last decade or so, is that Matt Painter has really seemed to master the art of finding guys that just fit what they're doing and molding them into a team. Guys, I mean, Carson Edwards is not a great example of this but he was a 3-star guy that wasn't highly touted at all, and he ended up being a superstar. But it's guys like Ryan Klein was like this. I'm trying to think of other guys. I mean, Grady Eifert from up here in Fort Wayne is a great example because he was a walk-on, became one of the most efficient players in the country. But they have their entire team right now. I don't believe they have a 5-star recruit on the team. Jaden Ivey was close, but not quite. But they have a whole group of players on the team right now that is just guys that just fit together extremely well. Travion Williams is even kind of like this, where he was a 3-star guy. He wasn't that highly touted, but he is just perfect for what Purdue wants to do. And they found a way to get guys that have flown under the radar just a little bit. And their scouting is just off the charts good, apparently, because they find these guys. And basically, it's at the point now where if I see a guy is committed to Purdue and he doesn't seem to have like that many other offers or that much hype around him, I just immediately think that 4 or 5 years down the line, I'm going to be saying, wow, that guy is really good. I wonder why you didn't offer him. And it's just that's kind of just the way that the rivalry has gone in the last 5 years. Purdue has just really scouted extremely well and found these guys.
Well, and they've done, and I agree with everything you said. I think Matt Painter is a good coach and has done all of those things that you said he's done. But see, to me, that's where it ends. They cannot compete. Look what happened to them now. You can say the entire Big Ten, but I don't know, man. I think Purdue took the worst loss in the NCAA tournament, losing to, was it Texas Southern or
North Texas?
North Texas. That to me was the worst loss. I mean, I'm like, wow. So they were exposed for the end of being kind of a one-trick pony, being able to kind of push you around, but you have the great guard play. But I just don't see them as a team that's capable of winning a national championship. And I still don't. I know that they've got a great class coming in. Caleb First is a good player, and he could be a great player. He could really turn out to be a great one. Trey Kaufman, I'm not sold on him. He does not like to mix it up. He's got a nice shot, but he's with that size, you don't have a choice but to mix it up sometimes. I don't think he likes to do that. You're damn sure going to have to do that in the league if that's a goal. But I'm not saying this to crack on Purdue. It's just something to talk about because they've got a ton of talent. They're loaded. They've done a great job recruiting the state. It's very similar to what Bob Knight used to do. I mean, their roster is set up very similar to what Indiana was. Indiana was nothing but Indiana kids, Ohio, Illinois, got a guy or two in from someplace else. I don't know that Purdue's getting those someplace else elite guys. That's what they're not getting, and that's the difference. Or I don't think they have. Caleb First could turn out to be that, and the guard that from last year,
Ivy.
Yeah, he's a good one, and who knows? That could be the combination, but I still think that they're just playing at a college basketball level, if that makes sense. Because I think about Juwan Howard. I think about what's going to be happening at Indiana. I think about really around college basketball. It's kind of going to be ticked up, and it's not going to be college basketball as far as the style. I think a lot of times, I think you're going to have to pick your game up, and I think Purdue is more focused on the Big Ten and winning the Big Ten, which is a great goal, but you also have to be able to take that next step. I don't think that they're set up to do that.
Yeah, and so that was the thing, is that's what happened in 2018 or 2019 rather, is that they had this great team, and then Carson Edwards elevated his game to the level of superstar in the tournament, or really all season, and that allowed them to make a deep run. And the question is, basically the question is whether Jaden Ivey has it in him to elevate his game to that level. Personally, I think he does. I think Jaden Ivey is a monster and is probably going to
I think he's better than Carson Edwards personally. I would not be surprised.
He is an absolute monster. And if he ends up shooting 35 to 40% from three next year, it's all over. He's going to be an All-American. And that would enable Purdue to make a deep run, especially if Travion Williams comes back, which it seems like he will. That would enable him to make a deep run. If they have that go-to scorer that can get you a shot off the dribble when the shot clock is winding down, you need a bucket, and you have Travion Williams who can do that from the post, and you have Caleb First coming off the bench, and you have shooting around them, that is an extremely well-placed team. The question is, when you don't have a superstar like a Jaden Ivey or a Carson Edwards, that was what happened in 2019-20, when they would have missed the tournament had it been held, because they didn't have that superstar that could get his own shot. It was kind of the transition year for them. And that's what happens, is when you have a lot of those players who are really good role players, you don't have someone who can really just take control, then you have years where this just doesn't really work.
Yeah, and now we've got, and not just basketball, on both sides, well, all sports, but we're going to have fans back this year. And I am looking so forward to it. In football, at IU, it doesn't much matter from my perspective, because in that press box, it's like a tomb. You can't hear anything. I mean, it is that sucker is sealed, buddy. I mean, seriously. I mean, would you agree that the level, the soundproofing they've done on that damn thing is remarkable? But I like to hear that. I want to hear that roar. So I'm looking forward to that. Stepping out the door whenever I can to do that. Just seeing the people, smelling the what's that, kernel corn to make
caramel corn.
Yeah, all that stuff. The smell in the air, barbecuing, people tailgating. Just, oh my gosh! Did you ever think you'd miss something so simple?
Oh, absolutely. Like it has been something that I just, when I covered college football last year, I mean, I was very disappointed that there weren't fans when IU went to Ohio State, because I'd never been to the Shoe before to cover a game, and just the feeling of it being this stadium that normally has 104,000 or whatever it is being completely empty was wild. I honestly hope that when Indiana plays Cincinnati in September, I hope it's warm enough that we can have the windows of the press box open, just to like be able to hear the crowd.
They don't, but I don't think that they've ever opened the windows. I mean,
really?
a couple at the top.
Okay.
But I want to hear it. Yeah, I step out the ends a lot of times, but
see, at Notre Dame, I cover Notre Dame more often. Notre Dame has the windows open, even in the winter. They have the windows open. You can hear that crowd.
It should be that way. That's exactly how it should be. But IU's got their own. And I've only been to Notre Dame press box once, and it was before the reconfiguration. How high up are the windows to unlock? Because the ones at IU, they have to use this damn pole to reach up there.
That's a good question. I've never actually seen them open the windows. They're usually open when I get there. But that's a good question. Is it more of a logistical thing than a philosophical thing at IU? Is that what's happening here?
Maybe no. I think it's more of a, yeah, that's what they've done. But yeah, because that should be the first. The Cincinnati game should be the first big-time game of the Tom Allen era, as far as fans, expectations, talent on the field. That should be a gigantic. That has got to be. I'm trying to think. This has got to be the biggest home game for Indiana in.
Maybe since the season opener against Ohio State in 16.
I'm going back bigger than that, because Indiana is probably going to be favored in this game.
That's fair.
This is going to be, if they have beaten Iowa in the opening game, and then of course taking care of business at home against Idaho, they'll be 2-0. They'll be in the top 10 because they're going to start the year in the top 15. You beat Iowa on the road, it's going to be hard to keep them out of the top 10.
Yeah.
So Cincinnati's already going to be in the top 10. So you're going to have a top 10 matchup three games into the season.
I wouldn't be surprised if game day was there, if that's the case.
But how is that not? That would be the biggest home game in Indiana football history.
Yeah.
There's no way. You got a top 10 matchup? Are you kidding me? That's never, ever happened. Indiana's never been a damn top 10 team, much less having a top 10 matchup in that stadium. That would be just, and then if they can get by that, I mean, this is a lot of ifs. Ohio State, can you imagine if Ohio State came here undefeated, Indiana was undefeated 7-0? Now you're just talking crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're talking SEC, Auburn, Alabama stuff. Nuts. Hell, Indiana and Ohio State would then become bigger than Michigan, Ohio State for that season.
I mean, I think it's going to be bigger than Michigan, Ohio State, regardless, because Michigan is not going to be any good this year at all.
I mean, Indiana should, at the very least, finish second in the Big Ten East. I mean, but it's going to be a different season. Fans in the stands, they've got to go to Michigan. And even though Michigan's not going to be as good, 110,000 people make a difference.
Yeah.
It does.
So does the fact that Michigan doesn't have any corners, though.
There's a good question. Look at Tom busting out the daggone trivia on us. Now, well, you asked that question, Tom. Why didn't you look up the answer and tell us? They went to, what were they ranked when they played Nebraska in 76?
They were not ranked when they played Nebraska in 76. I will say I just looked up the Rose Bowl season. They did not have any top 10 matchups that year. What they did have was the end of the season game against Purdue. Indiana was number 5, and they lost to Minnesota and actually dropped out of the rankings. And Purdue came in the next week ranked number 3, and Indiana played Purdue in Bloomington and won that game to go to the Rose Bowl. And so they beat number 3 Purdue to go to the Rose Bowl, but they were not ranked at the time.
Man, we got to get off here and take a break. Bob Kravitz is going to join us. We can't be wasting all that good information for him, man. He knows all that stuff. He was there for those games. I'll be back. We got to take a quick break. Back with Bob Kravitz and more here on Indiana Sports Beat.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, Hoosier fans, Hello, Robert.
Good morning. How are you?
Just doing lovely. How are you, sir?
Good. So we're all set for Friday at Donald Ross. Who's playing?
Another gentleman named Rich Nairn from Andy Moore.
Okay.
And I was up at, I haven't talked about that. Daggone it. I was up at Steve Green and Brian Evans' place, Aurora Sleep Clinic, yesterday.
Yeah.
Did that. Do you have sleep apnea or anything like that?
I do. Yeah.
Do you wear the mask?
I do every night for the last 7 years.
Okay, I'm telling you, this is my first night. I'll tell you next week. But after the very first night, there's an app, but I'm like, I can't find me snoring on there. And that was the first damn night. And I haven't got it. It's because it's not, so that means it's not dialed completely in perfectly. But I'm like, And I feel like I slept pretty damn well.
Good.
And all it is an oral thing.
It takes a little while to get used to the mask. It takes
this is just an oral thing.
Oh, it's just an oral thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you, once they figured out that I had this, it changed my life. Absolutely.
What I'm telling you here is, instead of that, it's this.
Oh, okay.
This just goes in like that. And these go in like that, and they connect, and you get it dialed in with this tool in the front, and to where it moves your bottom jaw to a point to where you find that spot. But last night was just the first night. And I'm like, damn, I feel like I slept pretty well. And I've got an app that I can't find any. I'm like, holy crap. To wear that instead of wearing a mask, or I'm like, ooh, yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know after 5 days how that goes. But
okay, good luck with it, man. I'm telling you, it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
But yeah, Steve Green and Brian Evans have that.
Okay, yeah. So, are you staying down in French Lick for the night, or are you coming back?
I hadn't thought about it yet. I might.
Yeah, where would you stay? Is there someplace?
Probably French Lick. For those two, it'd be if I had to get a room, it'd be cheaper there. Unless I stayed unless it across the street or something.
Okay. All right. I'll play it by ear.
All right, bringing us back in. House in Carmel and on 86th Street in Indy have a long list of craft beers and all of the right foods to go with. Plan a day on the links at Eagle Point in Bloomington, then stay for dinner at Sam's Clubhouse. Sam's Restaurants, professionals in the art of food and drink. This segment is brought to you by Sam's Family of Restaurants. Fresh, local, family. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back. Bob Kravitz from The Athletic joining us now. Dylan Sinn with me from Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. Robert, how are you, sir?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Cannot complain. Dylan Sinn here as well.
Hello, Dylan.
Nice to see you, Bob.
Good to see you too. Taking the week off, playing lots of golf.
Nice. You got the perfect weather. This week has been outstanding. No humidity, sunshine. It's kind of, what do you call that? City of Commerce weather. Chamber of Commerce weather.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. A great time for that. Lots going on in the sports world still. Earlier we were talking Olympics. Several IU people going to the Olympics. Lily King going back with her win in the butterfly. So that'll be cool to have some local. Carmel has 2 kids going into the Olympics.
Yeah.
So all kinds of cool things.
Yeah. First time ever, as great as Carmel has been, as a team swimming. What have they won? Like 28 straight state titles or some absurd number. It's the most in the country. And it's surprising that it took over 60 years or whatever before one of them made the Olympics. But yeah, 2 of them made the Olympics within the span of 1 hour. So that's a great story for them.
So congratulations to them, and Indiana getting several in as well, as usual, which is the custom. But it's good to see Indiana getting back a little bit higher in that level.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Ray Lewis is I remember when I was a kid and I covered Doc Councilman, and who was the diving coach? The famous
Billingsley.
Hobie Billingsley. Yeah, I remember speaking with them. They had unbelievable teams. Indiana's swim program is second to none.
You go back to Mark Spitz and those guys. It was serious business.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, that's good news. I'm still a little shaky about the Olympics, even being held with issues, starting to crop up in Japan. But if they feel like it's safe, then I guess go for it. I haven't done a lot of research on the subject since I'm not going. I don't know that a lot of media is going, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't think now with all the problems they're having. I would still go because I'm crazy if someone was sending me, but I don't expect to be sent by anyone. But yeah, I agree that besides the national people, but that gives us more time to watch it on TV, which is fine. And more time to do things outside, actually, to catch up for what we didn't get to do last year. I wonder if people are going to be, I don't think they're going to be doing more. I think they're just going to try to go back to normal as soon as possible, but just getting out there. And I wonder if that's going to continue to hurt some TV ratings in a regard. Maybe, who knows, but because I want to be outside. Most people want to be outside doing things, but that's the good thing about the old record button.
Yeah. No, we had a whole year without fans in the stands, and I think people got used to, the TV experience. Look, honestly, if I have a choice of going to an NFL game or sitting on my couch, I'll sit on my couch. It's just you have so many eyes on the game, so many cameras. That's why when I go to a game, I always listen to the TV broadcast. And I would tell any young journalist, if you're covering an IU game or you're covering a Colts game, have an app or whatever, so you can listen to the TV broadcast, because look, they've got several sets of eyes watching what's going on, including off the ball, which you as a fan or as a journalist, you don't have that. So I try to listen to the TV as much as I can. But you're right. I wonder if people will come back, because they got awfully comfortable with having that bathroom right around the corner.
Yeah. And the refrigerator. It's a lot less expensive.
That's all you need.
A lot less expensive. Let's see. So what else is I looking forward to coming up next too? The summer season comes on. Recruiting changes this summer. Indiana basketball. They've had a total of 5 guys on campus. Just right now, there's 2. There was 3 this weekend. So big change right there. Getting guys on campus. We were talking about Purdue and Indiana, how Purdue has done a great job recruiting the state, but they're really staying a regionalized school, where I see Indiana still broadening back out and getting back to being a national school, a national brand. But that beside the point, the recruiting has changed. You're getting people back on campus. Indiana's getting all these guys back, and that's huge for Indiana because it's just a national brand, and you walk into Assembly Hall and all that business, those banners that hang with it. So you're back to being able to do that type of thing. Yeah,
oh, absolutely. It's, I've talked with a lot of coaches and having to recruit digitally, virtually, I should say, was just awful. And, and this is a relationship business. And I think more kids will make the right decision because they have a chance to actually eyeball Mike Woodson and eyeball the facilities and everything else. So, everything is kind of getting back to normal. Although, I woke up this morning and see that Chris Paul is going to be out for an indefinite amount of time in the Phoenix series. So we're not completely beyond this.
No, and last week, ironically, at the end here, the last thing was, what in the hell are the Pacers going to do? What are they going to do? And it must have not been 5 minutes after we got off that they did something. I mean, you were on it and working on it, but they finally did that. But now, where are they? What are they going to do? Kevin Pritchard, he's kind of in the middle. I'm like, I don't know how he escaped that. But I guess the Simons are a little bit more forgiving, maybe. I don't know.
Well, he's got a couple of years left on his contract. They don't want to pay, 2 GMs and 2 coaches. Of course, Bjorkgren only had 1 year left on his deal. It's amazing to me that he took a 2-year deal as a coach.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I never heard of that either. I was shocked.
I didn't even know that until I saw. I was like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah, I know. 3 years seems to be the minimum. I would think, but he might want to check with his agent on that one. But I mean, look, we knew. I mean, if you had a brain cell, you knew after the postseason press conference, you knew there was no way Bjorkgren was coming back. I mean, I read in a couple of places that, he's coming back. No, he'd already been basically emasculated by Kevin Pritchard saying, he's good at the science of X's and O's, but he's got problems with human management. How do you bring a guy back, after you've torched him like that? I don't understand. Plus, he would have been a lame duck coach in only his second year. So to me, it was a no-brainer. I wish I knew more details as to why this thing fell apart. I've got some details, but not as many as I would like, because we covered the team virtually this year. You couldn't go in a locker room and get a guy aside and say, what the hell is going on? I think what they're going to do now is they're going to go for somebody who's a proven commodity, whether that's Terry Stotts or Mike D'Antoni or Brian Shaw, somebody like that, somebody who's shown that he can do it. Now, Brian Shaw had a bad run in Denver, excuse me, but he's been an assistant coach forever. He's shown that he had a great relationship with the players here in Indiana when he coached under Vogel. So I think they're going to go for a veteran. They're not going to take any more chances. Not a chance.
Well, I think that's always a good way to go. And the Terry Stotts thing is just so full circle. I mean, can you imagine a kid that went to high school at Bloomington North ended up coaching at the Pacers?
With Kevin Pritchard, who went
to North too?
No, I don't know if it was North or I'm not sure, but I know you went to high school in Bloomington.
I did not know that. That would be absolutely nuts. And the fact that he did not Stotts, the fact that he was an Indiana All-Star and did not play for a single college within the state of Indiana was kind of funny too. But I think I found out the story on that since Dave Bliss was an assistant with Bob Knight at the time, left, got the Oklahoma job, and he lands Terry Stotts at Oklahoma. But of course, Indiana was pretty loaded at that time, had a pretty decent team back around 76, around that era. They weren't too bad then, from what I hear.
That's the rumor. That's the rumor.
Yeah.
Look, the thing with Terry Stotts is, they want a veteran. There's no doubt about that. They want a proven commodity. But you look at Portland's defense the last couple of years, they've been like 28th, 29th in the league. And this is a team. Here's the problem. Kevin Pritchard doesn't know what the hell he wants. First he said he wanted to join the rest of the 21st century and play that space and pace type of play. And he got that. They were a much better offensive team this year. Now he says, I want to go back to the way it used to be. Well, it used to be that you had Dan Burke, the assistant coach, who was a terrific defensive guru, and you got rid of him. So I don't know that Pritchard really knows what he wants. I also think that he has empowered the players to the point where they feel like they can run coaches off. And I find it very discomforting that this is 2 years in a row that the players have basically run a coach off, run the coach out. And that I think they've got some issues in that locker room. I wish I was smart enough and had the insight to tell you what exactly is going wrong, but there've got to be some clubhouse lawyers in there because a lot of stuff came out, and I can promise you it wasn't from Pritchard.
And if you're still playing this late, you can have that. But if you're not even in that, I don't know how you're allowed to have that. It's like, you guys got to shut it up, buddy. You got to win before you start yapping.
That's exactly right. If LeBron wants that kind of input, or KD or whomever, Chris Paul, that's fine. But and that by the way is the kind of player that they need to bring in here. And granted, there's not a lot of Hall of Fame point guards available like Chris Paul, but they need somebody. It was funny. Pritchard the other day was talking about Al Jefferson and the outsized role that he played a couple of years ago. He didn't play hardly at all, but he was the grown-up in the locker room, just the way David West was, just the way Thad Young was. And they need somebody to be the grown-up in the room, and they don't have that right now.
We got to take a quick break. Try to get Bob to stick around for just a couple minutes after that and see what's going on next, and we'll be back right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Whether you're looking for a
So are you going on vacation now?
Yeah, I'm on vacation now. So if you ask me what I'm working on, basically my golf game.
That's, you know what? That's something fun to talk about.
Yeah, I suck right now, but I shot at 81 and 83 back-to-back last weekend. And now
what are you bitching about?
No, now I'm back in the low 90s.
Well, that's if you're a consistent 80s shooter, you'd be a consistent 80s shooter. You'd be. Right. I always say, if I was good, I'd be good.
Water finds its level.
Yeah. I was at the PGA store yesterday. I cracked my damn driver last week. I never hit a shot out of the fairway, but I was in high rough, so I hit a good one. It went like 230, but I heard this weird noise, and I looked down. The top cracked all the way across the top.
Oh man!
And
I don't hit it hard enough to crack a club.
Well, I was going to see if they would take it back or do something, and it's too old. But so I got to get a new driver. But I've learned to hit a 3-wood, which I just picked up, and I'm like, holy crap! Where has this been my whole life?
Yeah.
Hitting this thing off of the ground, and I'm like, whoa.
My problem is I don't hit the ball a long way. Like if I a good drive for me is about 225.
John Leskowski did the same thing. He didn't crush anything when I played with him. He shot a 77. He killed it with his freaking irons.
Yeah.
Dude was just on point. He just
throwing darts.
He was. I was like, damn.
I'm looking forward to playing on Friday. I haven't played the Donald Ross yet. That'll be fun.
Oh man, well, get your putting tuned up.
Yeah,
that's where it comes in there, because every green's like this.
Oh really?
I mean, you will not unless you're darting it. You're not going to have a flat putt.
Yeah, I'm not darting it. Not the way I'm playing lately.
Oh,
it's all going to turn around this afternoon at Trophy Club.
Where's the Trophy Club?
That's in Lebanon. It's about a 40-minute drive from my house.
Yeah, I got to get up that way.
It's nice. It's a nice course.
Have you played Sultan's Run?
I have never played that. No, I haven't. Played
very nice.
Southern Indiana?
Jasper.
Yeah, I haven't played there yet.
Very nice. We need
All
to
right,
go there.
bringing us back.
$80 a month or a new 2021 Honda Accord LX front-wheel drive lease for just $270 a month. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back. We have hit the midway point of the week. Happy Wednesday. Bob Kravitz, Dylan Sinn joining me here. I saw Steve Green, Dr. Steve Green, DDS, and well, Brian wasn't there, but they have Aurora Sleep Clinic now. Went up there yesterday to get fitted for their device that the what's the word? I already lost the
sleep apnea.
Yeah, sleep apnea, snoring, all that stuff.
Right.
Just one night. I tried it one night, so I've got 5 days to go, but I'm already like, I think this could be the deal, but I'll let you guys know after a week. I'm going to do this for a week first and I'll report back. But I was like, damn, I felt like I slept good last night, which was
good.
Odd.
As I told Frank, I use the mask, and I'm telling you, once they diagnosed me with sleep apnea, changed my life.
Well, I haven't been diagnosed, but one time I was on vacation with a good friend of mine. He's a really good doctor, and he said, "Dude, I thought you died 10 times last night." So I'm pretty sure that deal's there. But yeah, but it's instead of a mask, it's just like wearing two what do you call trays, whitening trays,
right?
That hook together. So I'll let you know how that goes. But I think I'm liking it. But I'll keep you informed. Right. Let's see what your golf game, man.
Old guys talking about our sleep apnea. This is pretty.
Isn't it pathetic? It is. Fortunately, I think our audience understands that deal.
I feel left out of this conversation.
You won't be long, my friend. Just feel lucky that you're being left out. But we'll find out about how that goes. But yeah, how's the golf game going?
Average right now, a little bit of a slump. You know, I had a couple of low 80s last weekend, but since then I've been in the low 90s. So water finding its level. That's all that is.
Dylan, do you play?
I do. Yeah. I played in high school, so I try to get out as often as I can.
I thought you said that you did play that. You did. Yeah, I know that's one of the things that Indiana does with basketball. They have a big reunion. Those guys like to all get out and play golf and have fun. It's just something fun to do. Great summertime. We were here at Eagle Point, which is looking great. Man, they've really got this place looking good too.
Good. Hey, can I make something really quick, Jim?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excuse me. I think it's our 9th annual, maybe 8th annual ALS golf tournament is August 9th at Highland Country Club. And if people want to get involved, they need to go to the ALS Association Indiana chapter website, or I'll give a phone number real quick, 317-915-9888. If they want to sponsor, if they want to volunteer, if they want to play. About 3/4 of our foursomes are gone already, so you got to move fast. But it's for a great.
How much is a foursome?
It's pricey. It's $2,000.
It's all right. It's for the people. It's for a good cause.
So yeah, I lost my mom to ALS many years ago. And I just wanted to do something in her memory. And, so we we raise money to help people who've been stricken with this disease, help them get chairs and all kinds of stuff that they're going to need while they're dealing with this terrible disease. So anyway.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. Not funny, but Pat Graham, who went to my high school, Floyd Central, his father-in-law who was one of my football coaches.
Mm-hmm.
We lost him to ALS. Because he was that guy. He coached by fear. I didn't do anything wrong because I was afraid I'd get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
But it was just a great character. But also right now, I think Andy Murray. No, not Andy Murray. I have to look at the name, but the former IU basketball manager,
Andy Murphy. I have the story.
Andy Murphy. Andy Murphy. Yeah. Okay. Andy Murphy dealing with that right now.
Yeah.
So that's, if you're a IU basketball fan or whatever, a business, there you go, contribute in his honor or get a team together in his honor as well great. for your mom. What was your mom's name?
Edith.
Edith Kravitz.
Edith Kravitz, yes.
Man, that's almost like the Bunkers. Boy, was your dad Archie? Was your dad Archie? He
kind of looked like him. But he did not have the same
demeanor.
Yeah, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And he didn't call me meathead. He called me much more.
Yeah, just make sure you get that information to us, and we'll get that up on the website too.
That would be great. I'll do that right after that.
We'll get that up on the Rivals website as well. But yeah, there's people out there suffering for this, and just perfect timing with the Andy Murphy. That story's been out there. A former manager. When was he a manager? Back in the 90s, I'm thinking.
I'm looking at the story
because I think he was with Michael Lewis. Michael Lewis, and I think in the late 90s, because I know Michael Lewis was on those teams, so it would have been probably there in the mid to later 90s.
Right.
But they've got a GoFundMe page if you want to look that up. That's Andy Murphy. Look that up. But yeah, we'll get Bob's information for the ALS on August 9th. So I know that there's one here at Eagle Point in September for a guy named Dog Shack Dave. He used to have a hot dog stand out here, but he was just a gigantic Indiana fan. He had it all decked out, and he passed from COVID last year. So they're having something for him in September as well. But
good.
Always, it's a great way to have fun and for a good cause. So
absolutely.
What more can you do? What's coming up for you? So I know you're taking off, so you're just going to be practicing, getting ready for Friday.
Yeah, Friday. I'm going to take all your money. No, I'm not. I'm a 14 handicap. I'm every bit of it.
That's exactly what I am, because that's exactly how many clubs are in my bag.
Oh, okay. So that's including
however many
driver.
That's not even in the bag anymore. I took that out last night, so I am probably down to 13. That's right. But I am going to a fitting tomorrow, Callaway. So
okay,
we'll see if that helps me out any. I doubt it. Lily King, this is probably going to be her last hurrah. I would imagine.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. I talked to her, about a month and a half ago, and wrote a story for The Athletic on her. And I got the sense that she's a long timer. She's going to stay with it for, I think, one more Olympic quadrennial. I really do. I don't think she's done.
Is a part of that just because she's able to, or is the money better? You can make a living doing it now.
Absolutely. She's a pro. She can make money. She's no longer a member of Indiana University's swim team, and this is what she does. And she's only, she was 19 back in 2016, so she's only 21 now. No, 23, 24. So. She's, look, David Badaya went for his fourth. The diver from Purdue went for, he failed. He fell short, but I think she's gonna give it a go one more time after Tokyo.
Well, she just don't let her eat any burritos.
No burritos.
No burritos. Who was that got banned and then she blamed it on eating a burrito? I was like, come on, man, you're sounding like a Russians now.
Yeah. I'm not sure who you're referring to, but I can remember like
This was now. This is going on right now.
Eat a burrito, an Olympian.
Yes, they were just received a 4-year ban. Burrito causes ban. This is a swimmer. I swear she is. Dylan, you know what I'm talking about?
I don't. I saw the runner got banned for 4 years.
She's a runner. My bad. Yeah, Shelby Houlihan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shelby Houlihan.
They said there was some bad meat or something like that was why she tested positive. That was the explanation. Is that what it was, Jim?
Yeah, she blamed it on a pork burrito.
Well, I blame pork burritos for the fact that I'm overweight, but never for anything like that. Wow.
Yeah, that sounded too much like
burrito defense.
She sounds like Bob Baffert now, man. She's going into the Bob Baffert defense. So
that's funny.
That's another guy that's in trouble. I mean, we always see so many of these sports icons get taken down late in their career, man. It's disappointing, but here's a guy that has been so successful. And now and then you wonder, is it just trying to hang on to that, or has that how it's been? It puts that doubt, and it doesn't matter what sport it is, where you're talking steroids in baseball.
Or the sticky stuff now in baseball.
The sticky stuff now, which is the gigantic thing.
Right. Spin rate and everything. And then this Tyler Glasnow from Tampa is bitching and moaning that they're starting to, come down on the rule. They're starting to, make them follow the rules in the middle of the season. Oh my God, I don't get these guys. Just throw the damn ball. I mean, are we going back to the days of Gaylord Perry?
I mean, he's saying if we can't cheat, we can't compete. I'm like, it's crazy. It's like, man, it is nuts. But it was funner in the days when they could just throw a spitball or whatever. I mean, I don't know how much spit can really change a ball, but now the stuff they're using now, man, this is scientific stuff, and they're using scientific data from ball rotation.
Spin rate.
That's some serious stuff there.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I have a hard time watching baseball anymore. Just everybody's going for home runs. The strikeouts are through the roof. Maybe by getting rid of some of the sticky stuff, maybe that'll change. But I find baseball to be dreadfully boring. It's a home run or it's a strikeout. I mean, I remember the days where you used your running game, you bunted, you played small ball. I know, get off my lawn, I'm yelling at clouds, all that kind of stuff. But the way baseball is played now leaves me cold.
They're testing a rule. They're testing a rule here in high A, which is Fort Wayne. They are testing a rule where pitchers have to step off the rubber in order to throw to any of the bases. So they're trying to increase the run game that way. If it works,
okay,
they might put it in at the major league level to make stolen bases more prevalent.
Yeah, that's not a terrible idea, honestly.
Another thing that's come up this week: the 12-team college football playoff.
Love it.
I don't know that it's looking like it's a reality, but I don't see anything stopping this. There's too many. The West Coast teams, the Pac-12, they're gonna make sure the Big 12, they have been left out as much. And the Big 10 wants a shot at getting 2 teams in, or better shot at getting 2 teams in. So, and then you've got the whether it's Central Florida, Notre Dame, or whomever.
Yeah, I know. I like this for the coastal Carolinas of the world, the Cincinnatis.
Indiana would have been in this.
I like it for Indiana, even though they're obviously in a major conference. I think it's a terrific idea. The only thing that leaves me a little cold is how many games are these kids going to have to play now? I mean, are we up to a National Football League schedule yet?
I think this only adds 1 game.
I think it adds 2. The national
Does it add 2?
The teams in the national championship game are going to have to play 17.
17. And, remember, these are, these kids are not getting paid.
That's a pro football season right there.
It is pro football season, when you're also trying to go to class and, but money talks. And,
well, they will be able to get paid. And that's another thing that leads into the name, image, likeness. What today's date is? What, the 15th? What are we, 15th or 16th?
16th, yeah.
We're halfway through June, which means we're 15 days away from name, image, likeness being completely legal in 5 of the Southeastern Conference states that they play in.
Not Indiana.
Indiana will not be until there's a national one, partly because the NCAA is here, I think.
Exactly.
But that's a big problem. Now Alabama, Georgia, and these guys, they can legally cheat because all I hear about, and I'm talking about from coaches, is how much cheating is going on amongst those schools. And I'm talking about just flat out paying players. And if you think that cheating is going to get less, you're absolutely out of your damn mind. Now they've got a legal way of doing it, and they'll probably just do it more. But you've got schools that are allowed to do it right now, and schools that I would think the Southeastern Conference would step up and say, wait a minute, half of our schools can't do this, and the other half can. You guys have got to wait. And I blame the states that went ahead and did it without leaving a year or something to get to that point, a deadline to reach instead of 6 months.
Right. No, it's crazy. I mean, look, you can tell your stud quarterback, you come and sign autographs for an hour at my car dealership and I'll give you $20,000. It's just going to be I think that kids ought to be able to make money off their name, image, and likeness. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's going to be the Wild West out there, because anytime you establish any kind of rule, people are going to find a way to get around it. And I think it's going to make a bigger the difference between the haves and the have-nots is going to get even greater, I believe.
Yeah, if they don't do something that a national, but and the NCAA is now relying on Congress. Now they're going to Congress with this. Oh, we got to do this. Oh, and they're doing it in the midnight hour. It's like, dude, you have had your entire freaking all these years, and all you've done is stick your head in the sand and say no, no, no. And now you're saying, oh, I believe it should happen. Man, he talks out of both sides of his face. But Zach Osterman pointed out something that I got to keep in mind. He's just speaking. He's just a talking head. He's saying what these schools are telling him to say and what they want him to say, because they're the ones that make these rules, not him. He does not do this. He's paid well for people like me to yell at, when it's actually not him that's doing it. It's these school presidents who don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't understand why ADs do not run the athletics of these universities, because the presidents do.
Right. That's exactly right. And that's a major problem. Dylan, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the main thing is just like Roger Goodell in the NFL, right? He's a punching bag for the guys who are actually calling the shots behind the scenes. And yeah, there's obviously schools have pushed against this for a long time, because it creates more rules they have to follow, more things they have to figure out. And now that it became obvious that it was going to go through, their hand was forced, and now they're trying to say, well, we always wanted this, but we want to do it our way. And they're still trying to exert control. Right.
Good points. Very good points.
Bob?
Yeah, no, I agree with Dylan. I think it's going to create more problems than they're thinking that it will. But I do believe that, look, when I'm at school, let's say I'm at IU and I write freelance for the New York Times, which I did a couple of times when I was at IU, I should be able to make a few bucks off of my good work. And I think that, well, not good work, but work. But I think that college athletes ought to be able to, make a few bucks here and there off their name, image, and likeness. I just think, I don't know how fully we've thought this whole thing through.
That's the problem. They haven't, but I blame the schools. I blame every school for allowing the NCAA to not move forward because they fought it because they wanted to keep that money, and now they're going to be in a pickle. Hey, I'm really shocked that these guys, when Mark Emmert refused to meet with the men and women last year before the Final Four, I was shocked that they didn't take action. I was like, man, you are setting yourself up for big time trouble. And
at some point, they're going to say, we're not playing tonight.
Exactly. And that's what I thought was going to happen. And you talk about the most impactful time to do that, a national championship with all of that TV money on the line. And they would have been, and I don't know that they would have been wrong for doing it. I mean, they would have been right for doing it. I would have agreed with it. But we've got to get you out of here. Let you get out to practicing that putting and chipping, man. That's where it's at.
All right.
Putting and chipping. Drive for show, putt for dough, baby.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
See you, Dylan.
Thanks, Bob.
Great Bob Kravitz from The Athletic. Make sure you give him a follow if you don't already. I do. And I'm a subscriber to The Athletic. So you can do that too. We'll be back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, Hoosier fans, whether you're... Yeah, man, this sleep apnea thing is, I mean, I have not been diagnosed, but I'll talk about it more. But for those of you that have asked on here on the side, if you're diagnosed, your insurance covers it. They have a slightly different device than mine. It's the same, but it's just designed slightly different. But I'm shocked. I was like,
Dylan, will you rejoin? Will you drop and then rejoin through your phone and see if that fixes your connection issue?
Am I having an okay.
All right.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you. Couldn't even hear that.
At first, I thought it was because his stuff was lagging because Bob Kravitz was here because he wasn't having issues beforehand. But
should not affect him. His connection is his connection.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if it was too much for his thing to handle another person. That's kind of what my thought was. Let's see. Here we go.
Is that better?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I wasn't having any issues. I could hear Jim and Bob perfectly fine. So, yeah.
Now it's still kind of jumpy. It's not as bad as it was a second ago, but are you in a different part than you normally are of your house?
That's the thing. That's why I'm surprised, because I'm in the same place I usually am.
Are you on Wi-Fi?
I am, yeah. My Wi-Fi is usually pretty good. I don't have any issues with it.
It's really draggy right now.
It's still draggy. Actually, if you don't mind, Dylan, turn your phone, just drop out and turn your phone all the way off and back on, or your computer, whatever it may be, and just rejoin as soon as you can. Maybe turning your phone and giving it a reset will help.
Okay, all right, I'll do that. I'll be back on in a little bit.
All right, thanks, Dylan. Sometimes that's all it takes. My phone sometimes is a good reset. Maybe it hasn't been reset in a while. All right, go ahead and bring us back in. Lunch, hanging with friends, or on the golf course, Sam's Restaurants has multiple locations and something for everyone. Sam's Restaurant in Fishers has homemade coffee cakes and much more. Sam's Place in Broad Ripple has wings, tender steaks, and seafood. Sam's Ale House in Carmel and on 86th Street in Indy have a long list of craft beers and all of the right foods to go with. Plan a day on the links at Eagle Point in Bloomington, then stay for dinner at Sam's Clubhouse. Sam's Restaurants, professionals in the art of food and drink. This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back on this midway point of the week. Just finished up with the incomparable Bob Kravitz. Fun as always. Looking forward to, don't forget, we'll have to get that information out, John, the 8th annual his ALS Golf Scramble, August 9th. Text him and make sure he sends you that information, please, Johnny. Lots of events going on. Yeah, the Dog Shack Dave Scramble in September at Eagle Point for Dog Shack Dave. So if you want to do that, Dylan, you'll be playing in all those, won't you?
I will do my best. I try to get out there as often as I can. It's I love playing golf during the summer. It's just a way to keep busy, and obviously just have a little bit of fun. As long as you're playing well.
I don't play well. It's just see, that's the thing. I talk about it. I don't play well. I can only get about 9 holes in, and I cannot focus for 18 holes. And that's, if you're going to play well, you have to stay focused on every shot. And I just can't do that. I'm like, there's too much crap on my mind. I'm always thinking about it. I cannot lock my mind down for 4 hours. There's just no way. It's like you go through runs, you hit a great shot, that kind of gets you locked back in for a minute. But I'm like, man, it's too much stress. It makes golf to play well is too stressful for me. I'm like, just screw it, whatever. I mean, I'll hit some good ones. So I play in a lot of scrambles. I love playing in scrambles because you screw one up, it's like Doritos. There's another one coming. But yeah. It's just, I just enjoy getting out and playing, knocking around. So looking forward to doing that. I'm going to try to do that today. This week has been absolutely phenomenal for that.
I mean, might as well take advantage of it while you can before it gets really, really hot again.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's horrific. But that also, man, reminds me of the days of my youth of getting ready in August for football. You had to start. Oh my God. That was the worst time of my life. 2-a-days. Thought we were going to absolutely die. I mean, I really thought I was going to die. Every year, I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you out here? It sucked that bad. But you just keep doing it. And it's summertime here now. So you got Little League. We got the College World Series is going on right now.
Well, it's starting very soon.
Oh, I thought they're still in the Super Regionals.
Well, they finished the Super Regionals on Monday. Notre Dame was the last team out of the Super Regionals. They lost to Mississippi State, who was the 8th and final team in the College World Series.
Who are they coached? Who's Mississippi State coached by?
Chris Lamonis from IU. Yeah,
former IU coach. He's doing well, but what's out in New Mexico?
Tracy Smith. Yeah,
how's he getting along? I knew he had kind of dropped there, and it was looking.
Let me see here. I think that. Let me see. Yeah, that's right. He left Arizona because he went to Arizona State after leaving IU, and he just left their program at the end of the season.
Oh, so really?
He's looking for a new job here.
So he resigned.
Yeah,
I did so, not. Yeah. I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh. Well, I knew that things had not gone great there, but you got to try, right?
Yeah,
you got to try.
Lamonis has taken Mississippi State to the College World Series three seasons in a row now. It's the longest active streak of any team, actually.
Well, there's that, which is nice, and then we've got the Little League World Series coming up this summer. That is a joy. That is something that everybody looks forward to. I guess we're not close enough to know how far along are they in quality. That That doesn't happen until what, late July, right?
Well, it's early August is when the actual World Series happens, but there's regional and qualifying games on mostly at the end of July, I think.
So we'll see if there's any local teams that fit into that this year, but that's always great to watch. And we didn't get to watch that last year, right? Did they even play that?
It was canceled. Yeah, completely canceled. So yeah,
that sucks because that's something those kids that's one shot. You get one shot at that, unless you're an 11-year-old superstar. But most of them are 12 years old. That was a one-shot deal, and that really sucks because who was it that was telling us that if you get a chance that you should really just go out and see the Little League World Series? I forget who. Was it Kyle earlier?
Might not today, but it might have been Kyle at some point. Yeah, Williamsport is absolutely beautiful. I've not actually been out there, but I have friends who have been, and they say the same thing. Highly recommend. Absolutely beautiful place, and it is an absolute event that they put on there. They do a really good job of organizing it and making it fan friendly for everyone.
Yesterday we had the great opportunity. Dickie V was on with us yesterday. That was an absolute blast. He's just amazing. The fact that he is 60 or 80 years old and he has got a zest that most people 30 years younger than him wish that they had. He is just still just boom. He just got back from vacation from Hawaii and he's just on it all the time. He's an amazing dude. You have to he's 80. I mean, and to have that zeal and zest for life, he's something. He's truly an ambassador for college basketball. I know that a lot of people have grown somewhat old with the stick, but you know what? He's funny. He really is. He really loves what he does, but he stays up. It's not like he's referencing guys from the 60s and 70s, man. He is in the know. He's in today, and that is probably the most impressive thing about him to me.
Yeah, I mean, he shows no sign of slowing down either, which is the thing. You talk about being 80. I could see him doing this for another 5 to 10 years. He just seems like he enjoys it that much. He has so much energy. He still is the same energetic guy that he was 20, 30 years ago, So it really is impressive to watch. And you're right, people have gotten a little bit tired of the shtick over the years, but it's genuine though. To him, it's not shtick. It's just the way he is. And I think that's what's really impressive about it.
Absolutely. And there are very few guys that can go their entire career and not have a drop off. Keith Jackson was one of those, though. Vin Scully. I mean, those are guys you don't want them to stop. Don Fisher, whenever he stops, people will not want him to stop. Because he's a guy that will be able to go out sounding pretty damn good because he still sounds pretty damn good. Keith Jackson, when he stopped doing it, I was like, oh man. When Brent Musburger stopped, I love listening to Brent Musburger do games. Those guys are so good. Vern Lundquist was another one that just stopped. They're just some of those guys. Just Keith Jackson was whoa Nelly. He had just still that old and Vin Scully. Those guys are just the greats, man. And you get accustomed to those voices. People are gonna flip whenever Don Fisher, hangs it up.
Oh yeah, because it's been 2 or 3 generations of IU fans now have known nothing but Don Fisher as the voice of IU basketball. It's been so long. Everyone, or almost everyone that is an IU basketball fan has grown up with Don Fisher being the guy. So it's going to be jarring when it's someone else on there.
You would have to have listened to IU basketball prior to 1976 on radio to not have listened to Don Fisher.
No.
Who did IU basketball before Don Fisher?
That is a great question. I have no idea.
I'm going to have to look that up. That's just a great trivia question, man. Holy cow. And then how many color guys did he have along the way? Yeah, Max Skirvin for a long, long time. I'll tell you who I can ask. I'll just ask Joe Smith. He'll tell me. But yeah, that's fun. That's wondering. And then on the PA mic at Simon Scott Assembly Hall, those fans have heard the same voice for over 40 years, for over 4 decades. So there are grandkids at IU easily whose grandparents heard both Don Fisher and Chuck Crabb doing the PA at IU. That's crazy.
And it's nice to have that continuity, right? Like it feels like you're connected to the past in a way that, like, if you have a lot of turnover, you're just not going to be. And I think that's good for the program. It's good for the fans. It helps them. If you're an alumni and you go back for a game and you hear the exact same things that you heard when you were there, it makes you feel like you're back when you were 22 again. That's kind of nice.
Absolutely. And looking forward to hearing that for as long as we possibly can. Chuck does all kinds of stuff. He does track events, the Big Ten track championships. He just does all kinds of things and keeps going. But it's because they're good at what they do. And again, that brings me back to, people for those who were concerned that Mike Woodson was going to be the head coach. Were Duke fans concerned for the last 5 years, 6 years that Mike Krzyzewski was their coach? Were North Carolina fans concerned for the last 5 or 6 years that Roy Williams was their coach? You see where I'm going with that. They would rather, and I'm pretty sure both of those fan bases would rather see Mike Krzyzewski and Roy Williams still in those roles.
Absolutely.
And they're both in their 70s. So you got to get off of this. I don't even know what it is about. What is it they think that they're not going to get? They're not working out with them. They're not playing one-on-one with them. They're teaching them. They're talking to them. Do they think they're not going to be able to use a language that's used on Snapchat or something? Man, these guys aren't there for that. These kids
have assistant coaches for and recruiting coaches.
Oh, exactly. But these kids have gotten a pro attitude. These guys like Tamar Bates, this is a business trip for him. He's going to have fun in college, but he's a guy, he's looking at it from a business standpoint. And he's looking at Mike Woodson and Thad Matta and whomever as teachers, the guys who are going to help him get there. And he's smart enough to know that. Now, the only people that might not think that way are guys who don't have that end game going. They're just going to be 4-year players. They should just be along for the ride. So I don't know where this age thing ever came from. If you're expecting him to be the coach for 20 years, well, yeah, that would be an issue. I don't think anybody's thinking that. This is about getting things back on track, going the right way, and staying in this direction. But that's all it is. And so, but I don't think people are thinking that now, but they're always looking for something to hammer on.
Yeah, and part of it was that he hadn't coached in college before, so in some way that people thought that was going to make it more difficult for him to relate to college kids. But it's just basketball. He said this in his opening press conference. It's just basketball, right? You're talking basketball, and they're people. Yeah, they're college kids, but like he coached plenty of 23, 24, 25-year-olds in the NBA. It's not that different. It's different. It's not that different. It's basketball. You are a basketball coach. You are not giving. Sure, you're giving some life advice, but you're not someone that needs to be really out there being a mentor to these guys.
Yeah, it's exactly. I agree exactly. And so that's not going to be. Actually, and I've said this. You're going to. I truly believe the Indiana program is going to become such a high-profile program again, much quicker than people think. That doesn't mean they're going to be winning national championships next year, but they are already high-profile. They didn't stop being high-profile. They had an issue with PR, I will say. They had a PR problem with their high profile, with their blue bloodness. That's gone. That's why you're seeing 5 kids in here in 4 days. Elite kids, high level talents. That's why they're here. Tim mentioned the 2021 TBT basketball tournament starts July 16th. They snubbed the Louisville team due to not enough high profile players on the team. Where's the IU team? I keep bringing that up. Well, I think Louisville also had money problems, so I thought I saw that. But, the TBT, man, I keep asking these guys, like, you guys got to get a TBT team together. It's just difficult. I mean, you got guys like Jordan Hulls who just got back from overseas, and those guys are still playing. They only get a couple months at home. They're not going to be wanting to train and do all that for the next 2 weeks or however long it takes to doing that unless you're single and don't have a family. But it would be nice to see that because there's so many schools that are represented. But I enjoy watching the TBT. Yeah, Purdue gets. So, what you got coming up next, Dylan?
Yeah, I'll be covering Eastside baseball this week as they prepare for the state championship game on Monday. And of course the Tin Caps as always. So yeah, basically baseball for me as we go through this week.
We'll look forward to tomorrow. Dustin Schutte will be joining me, Chris Denari, Matt Taylor, and we'll see what else we can scare up. See if we can get us another special guest. Nicky V on yesterday. It was a blast. Everyone loved having him on. He was gold, man. He's awesome. But thank you guys. Most importantly, of course, thanks to Dylan Sinn for joining me. Thanks to Kyle Neddenriep, and of course the great Bob Kravitz. Most importantly, thank you guys, man. Without you, we've got nothing to do. But hope you guys go out and have a great midway point of your week. And tomorrow we'll be all downhill from there. Dylan, have a great day. Everyone else have a great day. Thanks to John, the producer. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.